Today is verse 17. These are the preliminary verses leading up to the Viraha Gita, the introductory verses before the gopis actually speak. Svarantyascha para shorya anuraga smite ritaha. Riddhi sprishas chitrapada gira samumuhu striya. Now this is describing, Shukadeva is describing the situation with other gopis. And still other young gopis fainted simply by remembering the words of Lord Shauri, Krishna. These words, decorated with wonderful phrases and expressed with affectionate smiles, would deeply touch the young girls' hearts. Smita irita, riddhi sprisha, chitrapada. Chitrapad means the pada means the lines of a Sanskrit verse. Chitrapada, gira, samumuhu, smita, anurag, smita. So they were remembering other gopis, and we'll find out what Vishwanath says. Other gopis were remembering Krishna intensely, and specifically they were remembering his words, his vakya, as we hear in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. Smarantyas chapara shori anurga smirita Chitrapada gira. His speech was so wonderful. They were remembering. And of course when someone speaks, they speak from the mouth, and the mouth is part of the face. So when someone speaks, especially if they can speak in a very coarse way, or a very gross way, or a gentle way, or a soft way. And they can speak in an angry way, or a loving way. So here it's saying anurag. It says anuraga smita. Krishna was speaking, he was speaking very wonderful words, vichitra, chitrapada. His phrases, pada means the lines of poetry, the pada. They're chitra, very, very beautiful lines, very poetic, very intriguing and enchanting arrangements of words and letters, very melodious to hear, very satisfying to the ear to hear Krishna's chitrapada. But moreover, he was speaking those phrases with so much affection. Anurag, intense affection, and he was with his eyes. He was also speaking. So he's speaking with his eyes, and he was smiling. So they're remembering not only his variegated words, but how he presented those words, because the words were touching their ears, and their ears were affecting their hearts. So their hearts of the gopis were greatly affected by the words of Krishna, and they're remembering those wonderful words. It says Sprisha Riddhi. Affecting the heart means they were touching the heart. We say heart-rending in English, so it was a very heart-rending scene. Oh, you touched my heart. We have this phrase in English, oh, you touched my heart with your words. So the gopis, the Sprisha Riddhi, Krishna's words, they were touching the gopis' hearts. So Krishna's words were touching their hearts, and his anuraga smita, his affectionate, smita means his affectionate smiles, they were also touching his hearts. And then it says, deeply touched the young girls' hearts. So they're remembering the sound of his words, and that touched their hearts. Then they're remembering the sight of the vision of his face. What did his face look like? His eyes were dancing and so affectionate. His eyes were so much full of love and affection. Such tender glances, such soft glances, that these glances went deep into their heart and also deeply touched their heart. Because we can speak without saying anything. The eyes say everything. The eyes tell more than the mouth can speak. The eyes tell more than the mouth can speak. So this is a fact with Krishna, is anuraga smita. He's simply smiling. His smile, Krishna, is called Anuraga Smita. Smita means hasya, or smile, laughter. And it's anurag. Anurag means continuous rag, affection which is increasing and being presented in newer and newer ways at every moment. Anurag. His attachment, and all that is expressed just in his smile. Krishna just smiles at the gopis, and they feel all these waves of affection. They wash over the face of Krishna, and they wash into their eye. It floods into their eyes and then touches their heart. So, what is the effect of all of that? All this remembrance even this smarantya becomes a udipan. Udipan means an excitant, a stimulant, and it stimulates the very heart of the gopis. Their stahibhav, their permanent devotional mellow, their madhurya ras, madhura rati, becomes stimulated, and remembering the sound of his words, the chitrapada, the variegated, wonderful, enchanting, poetic expressions that Krishna spoke, and capturing those again in their ears, hearing those echo in their ears. Sometimes you take a conch shell. If you take a conch shell and put it to your ear and cover your ear with a conch shell, people say you can hear the sound of the ocean. You hear some sound. They say, oh, that's the sound of the ocean waves. So some echo, some sound is in that shell. So the gopis were remembering the sound of Krishna's Vichitra Pada, Smarantyas. They were remembering the enchanting, variegated sound of Krishna's sweet words in their ears. So their ears were like conch shells, catching that wonderful sound. And remembering that wonderful sound of Krishna's sweet, enchanting expressions. And then, in their eyes, it's called mind's eye, the eyes of the mind. In their mind's eye, they were remembering the Anuraga Smita, the wonderful affectionate glances of Krishna's face, how he expressed. It's not what he said, what did he say was so enchanting. And the sound, the sweetness, I'm remembering that, but I'm also remembering how he said it. How did he express it? What was his face? What did his smile look like? What type of smile he had? Anuraga Smita, and a smile full of intense anurag and affection and attachment for us. His smile was full of intense attachment for us, for we gopis. And then his eyes were saying so much. His eyes were full of affection. And when they remembered all of these things, all of these impressions, all these memories of Krishna, they combined together to become a very powerful and forceful udipan, emotional excitant, emotional stimulant, which stimulated the core of their heart, because it says, Vriddhi Sprisha, all of these emotions touched their heart and then they fainted. And this is the last symptom of sattvic bhav. It's called pralaya. Pralaya means devastation or fainting. Devastation, there's no question of dying in ras. So dying means swooning or fainting. So their emotions became, their love and remembrance of Krishna, and such intense love became too much for them to handle, and they just... So this, we'll find out tomorrow who those gopis were. Gopis were.